The infighting in MAGA world is just chef's kiss. They cannot govern. It is not in them. They're not capable of responsible governance. They're just not. They want to battle each other. They act like it's a big tent and there's no purity tests within the party. But there is. There is the chaos wing of the party, and then there's the even more chaos wing of the party. That's it. That's it. Get a load of this headline from Daily Beast. MAGA crisis could mean no Trump inauguration on January 20th. With Mike Johnson's speakership in peril, lawmakers worry the House won't be able to certify Donald Trump's reelection. And it's not going to be because of Democrats. Democrats are still in such disarray that our party isn't ready to be the opposition party yet. You still have your Jared Moskowitz, who can't find a bad thing to say about Matt Gaetz and Elise Stefanik. You got John Fetterman over there racing to the hallway to get to glad hand with Robert Kennedy Jr. You got all kinds of people who are just not ready for the fight yet. However, there's time for Democrats to get it together. There's time for our people to get it together because Republicans are giving the time. Republicans are making all kinds of space because of the chaos that just follows behind them like, who's the character on the Peanuts? The Pigpen character. Just the smoke and the dirt just following behind it. Here's the article. The MAGAverse could be on the brink of exploding into an all-encompassing constitutional crisis with Donald Trump's inauguration as possible collateral damage. The incoming Congress is scheduled to start on January 3rd, but following a bruising pre-Christmas battle to keep the government open, Republican lawmakers, including President-elect Trump, have turned on Speaker Mike Johnson. Without a speaker, the House of Representatives could become paralyzed and unable to certify Trump's re-election victory, plunging the Capitol and the country into political chaos. After that, nobody knows what would happen. So, how could things play out? According to the Constitution, each new session of Congress begins at noon on January 3rd. In the House of Representatives, the first order of business is for the representatives-elect to choose the new speaker, who then swears in the newly elected representatives. For about 100 years, this step was just a formality, but experts have worried for months that Republicans are so divided they might not choose a speaker in time to count and certify the presidential election results, which by law must happen on January 6th during a joint session of the House and the Senate. You know, there is one benefit of Donald Trump coming on the scene as a politician. I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here. But it is that regular, ordinary Americans who didn't give a single shit about the Constitution or the nuances of the timeline of this and that. January 3rd is when the new Congress comes in. January 6th is when they certify the election. Noon on January 20th is the inauguration. All of these dates are all prescribed in the United States Constitution. And the one benefit might be that Donald Trump opened your eyes to this, gave you a little bit of interest into these items. That's maybe the only positive thing. But here's my take on this. The inauguration is going to happen. They're going to get it together because nobody within the MAGA movement, nobody within the Republican Party wants to cross Donald Trump so much as to bruise his ego as the only president who wasn't able to be inaugurated and celebrated at an inaugural ceremony. That's not, do you think that's going to happen? Do you think Donald Trump is going to allow his weak-minded insecurities be even more bolstered by allowing this to happen? My guess would be no. Lawmakers don't need to finish the certification on that day, but the process has to wrap up by noon on January 20th when the Constitution says the outgoing president's term ends. The problem is that the incoming House Speaker must receive an overall majority of all the votes cast, not just a majority of the leading party's votes. The incoming House will have 434 members, usually 435, but Representative Matt Gaetz dropped out following allegations of sexual misconduct meaning allegations that he had sex with a kid. Allegations of sexual misconduct. Come on, Daily Beast. And his failed nomination to be Attorney General, meaning Johnson needs 218 votes to hold on to his position. But Republicans hold such a slim majority, 219 seats to Democrats 215, that even a few defections could cost Johnson the speakership. Representative Thomas Massie, maybe king among the agents of chaos, Thomas Massie from Kentucky, has already said he wouldn't vote for Johnson, and several other Republicans remain undecided, Axios reported earlier this week. And then finally, settling on a new speaker could take weeks, and the January 20th deadline is dangerously close. Political science professor Steve Smith of the Arizona State University, you hear what I did there? I did the Ohio State University thing. You know, they're not Ohio State University, they're the Ohio State University. And I just did that for Arizona State. Political science professor Steve Smith of Arizona State University told Roll Call that nobody has any idea what will happen if the House doesn't elect a speaker by then, because it has never happened. Quote, the country would be going into one big gray area, Professor Smith said. Well, let me tell you, whether Donald Trump gets inaugurated on the 20th or not, he is going to be the next president of the United States. And that in and of itself is one big gray area, Professor Steve Smith. Anyway, I invite you to this conversation. Do you agree with me that it's going to happen? Donald Trump is not going to let his ego and insecurity be overrun by the chaos of his chaos agents in MAGA in the House. He's going to pressure them, and they're going to bend their knee and kiss the ring, whether it be the one between his ass cheeks or the one on his finger, and they're going to comply. Do you agree? Comment below. Call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I would appreciate you considering supporting this work financially. Independent media, more important now than ever, absolutely. With corporate media, mainstream media asleep at the job, it falls to us in this space on YouTube to carry the torch and the moniker and the whatever else. I'd appreciate it. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month. Go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. All those are great ways. You can also visit Dollemore.com, check out the t-shirts and the merch and the stickers and the mugs and the leggings. There's leggings on there. I need to take a bigger role in what's going on over there. Anyway, all those are great ways to support this work. I would appreciate it very much. Follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.